I think we can start the self-introduction a bit 4 or 5 minutes later, but till then, I'll just explain a little bit about the ISAK application process, because I assume the fact that you're watching this live video means you're interested to enroll your children to the school or your siblings. As you know, UWC ISAK is a high school program, part of the United World Colleges. And for the application process, there's actually 2 ways. One of them is for the grade 10, and the next one is for the IB diploma, which would be the grade 11. So for the grade 10, people who are eligible, the students who are eligible are the students who are currently enrolled in the equivalent of US grade 9 or UK grade 10. And that in the Japanese standard, that is going to be the middle school year 3, because once you enroll in ISAK, you're going to be the first year of high school in the Japanese standard. The application process for that starts September 15, obviously this year, for the academic year of 2023. And the students who are eligible, they should be born between January 1st, 2007 to December 31st, 2008. But don't worry, if you are not eligible for that part, you can apply directly to the UWC program, the IB diploma program, which you will go through your national committee. So the national committee is basically a committee, part of the UWC organization, that you apply to that, and then they will decide the school for you, and then you can come to UWC ISAK. And of course, if you have more questions, you can always reach out to the ISAK staff, contact them. You can get their contact and more information from their website that I think we'll share it later. I think we can start. So today we will just explain about our own experiences when we were a student here at UWC ISAK, and also answer any questions that you have. So if you have any questions, please text in the YouTube live section. So Kitsho, do you want to start introducing yourself?
Sure, I can. Thank you, Atta. Hello, everyone. I am Kitsho, and I'm from Bhutan. I graduated ISAK in 2019, so I am ISAK's class of 2019. And after ISAK, I decided to enroll in a Japanese university, and I am currently a senior at Waseda University's School of International Liberal Studies, with a concentration in political economy of international development. Right now, I am focusing on finishing my university, so I'm doing my research, writing up my thesis, but I am also very interested in education. So I also intern at an organization based in India called Progressive Learning Foundation that does a lot of professional development for teachers. If I would use one word to describe my life in Japan, it would be exciting. It's not a very exciting word, but exciting is the word I would use. Thank you.
Thank you. Maria, you want to go next?
Yes, hello, I am Maria Macias. I am from Mexico, and I am from the same generation as Kitsho. I graduated ISAK in 2019, and I decided to stay in Japan for university. I am now on my 4th year of university in International Christian University in Tokyo, and I am doing a major in music and literature. Now I am doing my thesis on Japanese music and dance, and if I could describe my life in one word, it will be very busy.
Thank you.
So I guess I go next. Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan. I am from class of 2021. So I just graduated last year. And after graduated in ISAK, just as Maria and Kitsho. I stayed here for university. I stayed in Japan for university, and I'm currently attending ICU, and I'm a sophomore this year. And I'm still thinking, but I'm planning to major in biology and a minor in chemistry. Not so sure. So, but yet, if I were to describe my life in one word, I'll say eventful, because life is always full of up and downs. So it's always like like a roller coaster. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone, again. My name is Atta. I'm from Afghanistan. I graduated ISAK in 2017, so we are the first class. After ISAK, decided to stay in Japan, so I went to Ritsumeikan APU, which is in south part of Japan in Kyushu. And when I was there, especially at ISAK, I really saw how good education really changed me. So I became really interested in education. And during university, I wanted to make a school in Afghanistan. But when I graduated university last year and wanted to launch the school, the situation in Afghanistan changed a bit. So I'm right now in Tokyo because the Japanese company that supported my project from the very beginning, they hired me to prepare for my project from Japan. All right, thank you so much for the very beautiful introductions. I think now we'll go to questions that we receive from our audiences. Then I'll start with the very classic question, which is, why did you choose to study at UWC ISAK Japan? Anyone wants to start?
I probably have the most typical answer. I went to ISAK summer school and I really, really liked it. And then I told myself that because when I went to ISAK summer school, ISAK was in the process of establishing their high school. But I told myself that once the high school was established and if I was eligible, I would apply. And I did. And that's how I chose to study at ISAK.
Mm.
Well, for me, well, I didn't specifically apply to ISAC itself because I went through my national committee. And well, I guess during the process of writing my application, I show my interest towards like the Japanese culture and everything. So, well, ever since I was a kid, I was always interested in anime and just like learning the language. So I guess that deeply influenced my decision, or like why was I accepted into UWC ISAK.
Right. Thank you so much. I think I'll go next. For me as well, quite similar. When I applied to UWC ISAK from Afghanistan at that time, I actually applied with one of my friends. And at that time, UWC ISAK wasn't a UWC, so I didn't have to apply through the national committee. And the reason I applied was because, firstly, I knew that the number of students in the classrooms were really small, so you could get really the full attention of the teachers and get their very caring support. So that's what I had expected, and that's what I received. So that's, I think, was the main reason that I applied. And obviously, the scholarship was a very big factor of that. And I think I forgot to mention from my previous question, if I describe my life at ISAK in one word, I think it would be also growth, because I think I did really grow a lot in ISAK. Maria, you want to continue?
Yes, I have a very similar experience to Ryan. I applied to UWC through my national committee in Mexico, and they have a policy that we don't choose the schools, but the committee, they choose for you. So they assigned me Japan, but I am very lucky and grateful that this happened. I think it was a very good fit, and I fell in love with like Japanese traditional music and traditional dance. And yeah, if I had been in another country, I would have never been able to discover that form of art.
Wow. I find it so interesting that we have such a different reasons for joining ISAK, but I think we have quite the same experience when we get in there. So thank you for sharing that. We have actually a question from one of our special audience from Nepal, named Badal. Sorry if I pronounce your name incorrectly. He's asking, what makes ISAK special? What do you think makes ISAK special from the other normal schools, other international schools, or other UWC schools?
Well, I can answer that question. Like from my perspective, I feel what makes ISAC really special is like the connections that you get to make there. Like what makes the school itself is like the people. So like because there's people from all over the world, from like different backgrounds, you get to like really learn a lot from like over the world. And like, well, something that I'm really happy about is that like those connections that you make in ISAC are prevalent throughout like years and years and years. Like they're always gonna be there from you because you get to experience so many things together that you grow up to be like a family in a sense.
I think Ryan did summarize it really well. I think ISAC, the way the school is structured, as well as like the facilities that the school has, it really allows for, I think, you to form like really deep friendships and just connections. And another thing I guess I want to highlight is that I think when you meet another ISAC person, even if you didn't go to school with them in the same year, for me, it's been really easy to sort of get to know them or connect with them. And I think that's a testimony to how, I guess, strong the ISAC, the school culture really is. The other day, I actually had dinner with a Bhutanese that went to ISAC after me. And we had a really good time at dinner. So I feel like ISAC is something that is very easy to bond over just because of the shared experience there.
Thank you for that. Right. I think you summarized it all really well. And especially because I graduated from university last year. So I started working in Tokyo. Something that I have come to appreciate even more is the fact that in ISAC, there are so many diverse people, and you live with them, you eat with them, you go to class with them. So you really understand the diversity in people really in a very deep level. And you might not realize it at that time, but especially once you graduate and once you start working or go to a different environment, then you will understand that how much you have actually grown out of that how much you have come to understand about people. And I think that's especially at the early age of early high school, that's such a meaningful experience. So that's what made ISAC special for me. Maria, do you have anything to add?
I think like yes, I agree with all of you. Especially the most like a special part for me was the friendships I was able to bond and to be able to make friends with people from so many parts of the world.
Right. Wow. Thank you. We have a second question from this time from Switzerland, from Ronnie. He or she is asking, what is it that kept you in Japan? Interesting question. What made you decide to stay in Japan? Because we graduated from ISAC and then obviously we are based in Japan. You can jump on anyone who has any idea. All right, if no one, then I'll go. I think one of the main reasons that I stayed in Japan was the fact that in ISAK is quite international school, so you obviously get to make Japanese friends and friends from all over the world. But at the same time, I thought that if I just leave Japan after ISAK, it's I wouldn't be able to make the full use of Japan. So that's why I decided to go to university in Japan and stay there. And I'm really, really happy that I stayed there because I was really able to do what I wanted, which was my school project, making the school project. So that's something that I'm glad that I decided that.
I think I too felt similarly, where I wanted maybe a little bit more time in the country. And also, that wasn't really a university. I really just wanted a liberal arts education because I wasn't sure what I wanted to study. And I realized that I didn't have to go to the US for that, which is why I think when I found that option in Japan, I decided to stay.
Thank you.
Well, for me, well, as Ata, I since I was always interested in Japanese culture, I didn't really get the full experience of like Japan itself because of like how international it is and like how well kept we are in the community. So I just wanted to have like a second experience, like directly immerse myself in Japanese culture so that I can get like the full experience of Japan and also like to fully learn the language.
Thank you for sharing that. I think Ryan, Marie, and Kitsho, they had a long meeting just before this one, so they have been behind the screen for a long time. So thank you for being here. There's actually a question directed to me, but I think more than me, the others can also answer that from Asad. He's asking that if I were your brother and you wanted me to be 100% accepted at UWC ISAK Japan, what would you advise me? So it's basically, that's a very interesting question. What is your advice for someone who applies to ISAK? What tips would you give for them to get accepted to ISAK? Since it's directed to me, so I'll answer first, then you can go next. I think there's no clear answer, but when I get this kind of question, I always say that don't really think of ISAK or anything or any job you apply or any school you applied. Don't just do things for the sake of that school, but rather do what you really like to do, because that will help you grow. And once you are really a person who is very motivated to grow and takes initiatives, then UWC ISAK Japan would be able to see that, and then obviously they will accept you. So I think my best answer would be that do what you really like to do. Don't do it for the sake of school, but then it will obviously affect the school to accept you.
Well, from my perspective, I feel there's no like, it can never be certain like to be like 100% like for sure that you're gonna be accepted into UWC. But like what would I advise people to do is that, well, just always give your best effort towards it. Like show your enthusiasm that like you really want to be there, like do a lot of research, like try to connect with a lot of people to like ask for their experience and like what they've been through. And while you're going through the application process, if you really portray that through your work, ISAK is gonna notice, and like what they want is people who like are eager to be there, who want to learn, who want to have these experiences. So I'll say, yeah, that's my advice. Just show your enthusiasm and always put your greatest effort towards it.
I think also maybe think about why is it that Isaac, what is it that you would bring to the community that Isaac might not already have? And why is it you that Isaac should maybe admit and give you the space to be there? And also, I think at the end of the day, it's just important to maybe be yourself and be authentic, because not doing that is unfair, not only for yourself, but also for the school. So yeah, I mean, obviously put your best foot forward, but I think it's important to be honest as to who you are as a person and what is it that you're seeking for.
Thank you. I think I'll ask Maria the next question. There's a question from Nepal, from Badal. How would you describe your fellow students, Maria?
Very passionate and so smart, but especially passionate. Like every single one, they have like a personal project. They have so many goals, and very like community oriented. But yeah, very interesting people that you can learn from. And I think almost everybody, they want to have like a impact in the community. They want like to make the space better and to keep growing.
Yeah, and to add on Maria's, I think how would I describe the students of the UWC ISAK is that they really take initiatives because the whole school focuses on leadership, and they say that leadership is a practice. So that practice means taking action. So I think it does come to taking initiatives and taking actions. So the students could be interested in various things, but no matter which field, they would always try to take action through our project weeks and project works, our CAS, and also the extracurricular clubs and activities that are there. Since you're also from Nepal, my roommate was from Nepal, so I think I learned a lot from him about a different culture, because we would always say at late nights, cook and talk together and do our assignments together. So we were always open to each other to share what we had besides taking initiatives. Kitsho, do you have any special opinion about your fellow student?
I think the word that came to me was kindness, or like kind. I think people at Isaac are generally very kind. I feel like, for instance, if you're like eating alone in the cafeteria, someone will probably come sit with you, and it's like the small things. You probably always have someone on campus that you can talk to. And I think there's also a lot of acceptance within the community, although obviously there are differences and there will be difficult moments. At the end of the day, I think I felt very supported, and I always felt like there were people that had the best interest for me, that had my best interest in their mind. So that's another word I would describe them.
Thank you. Ryan, do you have anything to add?
I feel like a really good word that will describe people as, I guess, open-minded. Because like from their international background, people like come with this idea of like acceptance, and like just like they're always there to hear your opinions and to share their own opinions, so that we like both parties can grow from all that knowledge. So like, well, yeah, open-minded people is a really good word, I think, that will describe people at ISAK.
Thank you. And I also wanted to add on Kitsho's part that I think the students in ISAK, especially when we were there, from what I remember, is that they were always taking the extra step to take care of each other. I think naturally all human beings are kind and nice to each other, but at ISAK, they would actually intentionally take that step to go see if some of their friends were struggling to help them out. We have one question from Saleh, which is, what was the hardest part of applying to ISAK? Oh, interesting question. What was the most difficult part of applying to ISAK?
Selecting what I wanted to write on the application. Because I feel like when you're applying to anything, right, or like a school or a university, you really want, the challenge is always how do I show who I am in the most succinct manner. So I feel like doing that was really difficult for me. And when I applied, there were like a lot of short answer questions, and like thinking about what I wanted to write for each one was really challenging. I think that took the longest time.
I see. If you don't mind, kids, do you remember any of the contents that you wrote for your application? What do you specify?
I think there was a question about like who's your role model, and I had a really hard time like picking who that person was, because I was thinking a lot about like, oh my God, how will this make me look on the application versus how would that other person make me look on the application, I guess. So I think things like that were really difficult. But
Yeah.
so that was a little hard, I would say.
You did well. You're already here, so.
Thank you.
Ryan?
For me, well, as Kitsho said, like writing the application itself is very tough, because you have to like really summarize everything within like a few words, right? Well, for me, like the hardest challenge, like when doing my application, was actually waiting for the results. Because well, once you submit, like you already put all your effort towards it, and it's just like waiting time, just like thinking if you're gonna be accepted or not. So like I was like constantly checking for like the results that they were coming out, like just wondering, or like just like thinking it through, like rethinking everything, like everything that I wrote and stuff like that. So just waiting for it was just very nerve-wracking for me.
Thank you. Maria, for you, it was just easiest piece of cake?
No, of course not, especially because there is a lot of competition in my national committee in Mexico. And I remember once they asked us, like, why do you deserve this opportunity and another student doesn't? And I couldn't answer that because, like, I think there are so many better applicants than me. So I had to accept that at some point it was just luck.
That's tough. Thank you for sharing that. Well, for me, the application process was 8 years ago, so I don't really remember clearly. But one thing I remember clearly is that we had, after the application, we had an interview via Skype, and I was supposed to do the Skype, say at 10 p.m. But I logged into Skype and I didn't see their messages. So I was waiting for them to call me until 10:20. But then they were waiting for me to call them until 10:20. So when I didn't receive their call, I really thought that I was obviously rejected because I wasted their time. But surprisingly, I'm here. So we have another question from Badal from Nepal. He's asking, do your courses feel more challenging or easier than expected? IB courses and also the grade 10 courses, were they more challenging than you expected?
It was more challenging than expected. IB was more challenging than expected. And honestly, it wasn't because of IB itself. I mean, IB is very demanding, don't get me wrong, but when you're in an environment like ISAK, there are so many things that you're expected to balance. And the constant battle, I think, and I'm sure this is not only my experiences, do I give back to the community, or do I do IB, or do I work on my project? Like, I feel like that was the most challenging part. And because of that, my courses were definitely more challenging than expected. Because at ISAK, I wasn't just doing IB, I was also being a part of the ISAK community and the UWC movement. So balancing all of that became quite difficult at one point.
True. Yeah.
Well, like I completely agree with what Kitsu's saying. Like, well, the courses itself really depend on each person because like everyone has their like weak points and their strengths, right? So you're like being completely honest, you're always gonna struggle because uh IB is really demanding and like but like what's hard about like all these entire experiences like as Kitso said is just like finding that balance. Like if you really want to focus on your studies, there's always room for you to like focus on it. You like receive a lot of support from your teachers. So it's always, even though it's gonna be challenging, you're always gonna be able to like overcome those challenges. But like it's also important to realize that you also need to involve yourself in other parts of the like community to fully get the like full ICU experience and not just like only the academics. So yeah, like just coming down with that balance or like just focusing on what you really want to do, like always have in mind what you really want, and like if you're not gonna regret just putting effort towards something or not.
All right. Maria, do you have anything to add?
Oh, yes, like the IB is pretty demanding, but I think what's the most demanding is being able to like balance being social, participating in your social project with academics and being healthy and so on. But there, yeah, but everybody manages to do it somehow.
That's true. Yeah, I completely agree with everything you said, and I think for my case, unlike many of my other classmates, I came to grade 11, so I didn't come to the grade 10, and I came directly from Afghanistan. So my English was quite not quite bad, but it wasn't really good. So I did struggle with my English in the beginning as well, especially the IB textbooks are very thick. So I have to use dictionary to understand them. So that was one of the most challenging moments for me. But I think looking at it now, all those challenges really helped us to grow out of it, both in terms of academic, social life, and also like in terms of our personal growth as well. So the challenges came with their own good points as well. I think we're gonna wrap up with one of the last questions, which is, what is your dearest memory from UWC ISAK? So take your time. You can cry if you want. You can share your dearest memory from UWC ISAK.
That's a really difficult question. How do you just pick one memory when you've had so many good ones?
Mm.
But since I've been asked to pick one, I think the first thing that came to my mind was during the weekends, my roommates and I would often have like weekend brunch where we just make our own breakfast and we'd wake up late and we would all bring something different to the table. And we did that. That was like our way of de-stressing, I guess. And we'd also do like room dinners where we would just cook and eat in our like cook at night and again do like a potluck style dinner. So I think those are very fond memories because those were the times when I really got to know my roommates. We really spend a lot of time together and just really enjoyed, I guess, being in the present.
Oh, that's a beautiful memory.
For me, well, from what I can recall, it was my best memory in ISAC was during the summer break. Like I wasn't able to go home because of COVID and everything, so I stayed at ISAC for the entire summer. And well, it was full of challenges, but like as a community, in order to like overcome all the bad feelings and everything, with like um we planned like a water fight, even though it might be a bit bad for the environment, but like we really needed like a way to this like like relax a bit and just like focus on like ourselves. So with all my of my classmates, we just like stood there like fighting with water for like 2 hours. We made like really good memories, like just taking a lot of pictures, enjoying the summer, enjoying the water, like cooling ourselves. When like over that, like we're just like enjoying our company. So like yeah, that's my best memory from ISAC that I can recall right now.
Thank you for that. Maria, you want to go next?
It was very hard because there are so many, but like I think during 12 years I was having a very difficult time managing like all the stress and the anxiety about the IB exams and college and having to say goodbye to my friends. But I always have had the feeling that when I went back to my dorm, like my friends will be there waiting for me. So I never felt lonely. I always felt that no matter what happens, I could have like the worst day of my life, but I will go to my dormitory and it will be fine. And now that I am in college, I don't have that feeling anymore. So I really miss just like feeling that I have like my friends there and everything will be fine no matter what happens.
Yeah, that's I think for me it's also my friends, especially like one of the dearest memories is sometimes when our classes would get done, me and my friends, we would go for a run because Isaac is in the middle of forest. It has a very good running pathway. So we would go for a run, come back. Then after dinner, my roommate would cook momo, the really tasty food from Nepal. So we would eat together, and then he would make tea. We would sit there, play cards together, and really share all our true sayings together. So that was a very special moment for me that I think I'll always cherish that. All right, then I think because I don't want to take more of your time, it's close to evening in Japan, so you might go make dinner for those of you who are in Japan. If you have any more questions, please forward your questions, and thank you so much for listening. All right, then if we don't have anything to say, then I think this is our farewell. Okay, thank you so much.